Hi guys, welcome to Binge Time. Thank you guys for tuning in today. We've already talked about the first and second seasons of You, but for this episode we're going to be talking about the third season. This is our segment called Let's Talk About It. My name is Nevaeh.
And I'm Cheyenne.
And we would also like to thank our sponsor, Silver Sky. Woo! Alright, I think we should take this time to recap the third season.
A lot happened this season.
So basically, they moved from LA to Madre Linda, which is like the outskirts of Los Angeles, like the rural area, you know, where there's houses, picket fence, all that sort. Love and Joe have a kid together, and this is like supposedly supposed to be their dream life. But once Joe found out how Love is,
it's like he doesn't love her anymore.
Yeah, it's like he like resents her for it, like we said in the last episode. So that like is what he carries the entire season. They have this therapist that they both go to, like a marriage therapist, and she like helps them. And they have this. Okay, so they moved to Madre Linda, and they have this neighbor. Her name is Natalie Engler, and her husband is like in the tech. He's like a CEO tech. Like,
yeah, he's away a lot.
Yeah, she's at their house by herself all the time. She's always like reading outside and stuff like that because their house is full of cameras, and that's like the only place where she feels like she's not being watched. And they meet each other and they become like try to become close friends. But you know, Joe, he is obsessive, so she was his new obsession. And you know, he went through the motions of like sneaking in their house and like
stealing her clothes.
Yeah, and making a weird little box full of her tampons and all that weird stuff.
And Love was trying to buy a bakery.
Yeah.
Because she needed to keep her mind off things like, you know, big change, she has a baby, she wanted to keep occupied and stuff. So she goes and buys this bakery from Natalie because she found out that Joe...
Oh yeah, Natalie is also a real estate agent.
Yeah. She found out, she like kind of like... So basically they live in this rich neighborhood with all these fake people.
Yeah, and they're all like fake, and they like love posting on social media.
I don't eat gluten, and like my kids aren't allowed to have sugar. Like what?
Yeah, and they're like very like stuck up, and they're all like most of them like love blogging and love doing things for mostly just
they're like
social
influencer.
media. Yeah, things like that. And Sherry, her husband, he's like a bodybuilder type guy, like a wilderness type guy. He loves like really strong, and then they have like twins. There's like it's just like new characters that are being introduced. And also the son of Natalie Inger's stepson, Theo, he's also introduced.
He's 19.
He's 19. He's a college student. And Love and him also cross paths within this season.
Okay, so Natalie's like showing her the bakery. Like whenever they get down to the basement, Love kills her because what's his face, Joe, is like obsessed with her. She was like, "Are you obsessed with her?" And Joe was like, "No." But then she found the box, and so she killed her. And then Joe, like, she had to call Joe, and Joe like
he like went off on her and was just like, you haven't made clean up the body, and like you did all this stuff. Or, like,
because
really upset.
For some reason she is so like
she makes very impulsive decisions.
Yes, she is so impulsive. It's irritating. She kills everyone in their freaking mom.
Yeah, and I think she low-key, I think she did it because she knows how obsessed Joe is gonna get, and it's probably not gonna stop, so she probably just thought that was...
And he actually almost cheated on her.
Yeah.
With Natalie. And so Natalie's dead, Joe cleaned it up, and then they bought the bakery, and keep this in mind, they buried her in the forest. Mm-hmm. And she had this tracker ring on. Yeah, because everybody in Madre Linda
they have them for their like kids and stuff, or like when they have the high blood sugar, they like check it. And Natalie had one on her finger, and they had realized that after they had buried her body in the woods and everything, so they had to go back to the woods, rebury her body somewhere else, and get rid of the ring on top of that. Mm-hmm. So that was like a whole thing.
And okay, so they put the glass box and whatever down in the bakery, the basement or whatever, and like the soundproof room, and they kept like all the baby stuff. And for some reason, like they can't trust each other, so they both hide keys.
Yeah, they both hid keys in there. Like none of them knew each other. Each other put keys in there, like for emergencies, just in case they get stuck inside the box. But they both did, because I guess they both don't trust each other now. So they both ended up putting, when they were building.
And like, first of all, it's so irritating. Like, if you don't trust them, then why are you even with them? Because if you don't have trust, then there's no love.
I get that.
We're so open
and so deep.
but see, after they kill Natalie and bury her, then like, okay, so you know, there's like an investigation, and like Matthew.
They do like a search party, and like Sherry
yeah.
Conrad, she's like the host of it, and like she's mostly doing it for social media. And the son, like the dad's son, he like realizes that, and like he just like hates everyone because he realizes that he knows that everyone in Montreland is fake. Like he knows it.
And he's in love with Love. Like he is in love with her. He wants to do whatever he can to spend time with her, and like
and she's like and she like tries to like, you know, like brush him off, but she also like ends up having and she got pregnant, but then she lost the baby.
Her mom had a vineyard. She bought a vineyard,
and they had like, she had like a little event there, and and then Love started bleeding, and that's when she grabbed the bottle of wine and was like, because remember her mom Dottie was like, are you pregnant? Like,
she said it in front of everybody.
And then I think the mom, like Dottie, like her Love's mom, had found out that it wasn't Joe's baby, and like she didn't say anything about it. But then Love ended up miscarrying, so she just went on with her life like it didn't happen, and she never told Joe about it.
And there's like a police investigation, and Matthew, he's like not saying anything, so people are like suspicious of him, and they're trying to blame it on him. But then Joe, like, he tries to go. Their baby ends up getting measles?
Yeah, measles.
Or chickenpox?
Or something. No, it was like really serious. It's like really severe, like measles or something like that.
I don't remember.
And it was like a really severe sickness that like you're supposed to get shots for. Like your kid is supposed to get
vaccine.
Vaccine, yeah. And one of the parents like didn't give their kids vaccines because they don't believe in that stuff.
Okay, but so this one guy, Gil, it was his wife. Okay, so Love was like trying to call people and like, oh, you know, Henry has measles, like just want to let you know. And then the mom was like, it makes you think, like, it makes like the watcher think like, oh, like she doesn't like her anymore.
And like the mom, like when the mom was on the phone and she heard that, she was like, oh my god.
Yeah, she like dropped the phone and everything.
Yeah, like she didn't say anything.
But in reality, it was her kids that weren't vaccinated.
It was her kids. And then the husband of the mom was like, sorry, you just know we don't believe in that stuff.
But before that, Joe got it too because he wasn't vaccinated. And then he went to go and hide the scarf in Matthew's house because they were trying to frame him for Natalie's murder.
He realized he couldn't do it, but then he ended up passing out.
Yeah, because he was so sick. Yeah. And he dropped the scarf by the trash can. But Matthew took him inside the house. He like got him better and stuff. And then he like, they like got to know each other. And so Joe did not want to frame him anymore.
Yeah, Joe did not want to.
He felt bad, and he was like, we can't. And then he was like, I'm not going to do that to our son. And Love, honestly, she's a terrible person. I cannot stand her. She does rash things, and then she doesn't think of, like, the outcome or, like...
the consequences.
Exactly.
Of her actions. She just does.
Yeah.
Like, in the moment, doesn't care about what happens afterwards.
And then, so after... you know, after Joe gets better or whatever, he's in the house. And then Gil, he goes to the bakery and he tells her. And then Love is upset and then she, bang, hits him on the head.
Yeah, hits him on the head with like an object. Was it a bat or something?
I don't even know. I think it was like a rolling pin.
Yeah, I think, she hit him in the head and she locked him in the little crate. Oh, and also keep in mind that like Natalie's husband, like he was very obsessive. Like he did not believe that it was like a suicide or like a murder. Like he was really digging deep.
So Gil is in the glass cage and he's like, you know, like, let me get out of here. And then because Joe does not want to kill him, so he's like, let's dig a little deeper and get some dirt on him that way, like, because these fake people in Modern, like, they don't want certain things getting out. And like his son was like a sex offender, like he would like rape girls and stuff and like crazy things like that. So he like, Joe found out, and then Gil, he was like, I just thought it was a phase, like I thought he would get better. And then, or like later that night or something, they looked at the camera in the basement of the bakery, and Gil had hung himself.
Yeah, because of the dirt they found on him. He was like so embarrassed about it that he literally
hung himself.
And they were like, no, like when Joe and Love went down there, they literally were in distraught because they did not want him to kill himself. Like they didn't want to have another body to bury. Like they didn't want to have that burden on them again. So that was another body.
And then after they like got him down, they were like, we could use this. Like we can say like Natalie's having an affair with Gil, and they were both just so like crazy about it, like they ended up killing themselves. Natalie first, like they said, like oh, Natalie kills herself because she couldn't handle the stress of like keeping this a secret. And then Gil also, like, they wrote like a letter for him and like made it look like he hung himself on the stairs.
Yeah,
it's crazy. And then so everybody, it was like,
yeah, it was like a note that they had wrote, and they were everybody was basically saying case closed, okay, he's found.
Yeah.
But the husband, he was like no, like, I don't believe this is like the truth.
Matthew.
Yeah, the husband Matthew, the CEO tech, he was like obsessing over it. Like, he hired a PI. He had access.
Had cameras to every.
He had access to like all the cameras all around Madre Linda,
yeah.
And like this is illegal. He was specifically watching Joe and Love because he was really suspicious about them.
And then Theo comes in. He's like, they didn't do it. Like, you need to get over yourself.
Yeah, he was basically telling his dad, like, stop. Like, this
and
is
then,
ridiculous.
And then, since he's in love with Love, like, he told her. And then she was like, I need you to, like, find out. Like, she was basically just playing with his feelings to get, like, what she
advantage
wanted.
Of him, yeah.
Yeah. Basically. And because Joe was like, because, okay, Joe is obsessed with this girl that he works for. Her name is Marianne.
Yeah, Marianne.
They work at the library together, and she has a kid, and he's like, I'll do anything, like, to help you get your kid back. Like, of course, in his mind, he's saying that.
And the abusive, and Marianne has this abusive baby father. Yeah. And he basically is trying to get custody of their daughter. And
because they both used to be on drugs, but the thing is, he's still on drugs. And she's not, but nobody knows because his tolerance is like so high. Whenever Joe snuck in his house and he tried to like,
and he's a news anchor and everything.
Yeah, but Joe snuck in his house and he tried to dose him with Adderall and to like get him back on drugs.
But it turns out he takes it every day, so he gained like immunity to it, so he can take very high amounts and be okay. Like, yeah,
he puts it in his protein shakes.
Yeah, so it was like he was like that was pointless. And, like, he was basically just trying to find ways. And he ended up, Joe, like, the father of Marianne's kid, like, he ended up realizing that Joe was trying to sabotage him.
Joe ended up killing him, too, because he was like, you don't have what it takes. And then, boom, he killed him. Yeah. And, like, Love found out that she was like, I just feel like you're not attracted to me anymore. And so she was trying to find ways to, like, help their marriage because it was, like, falling apart. Like, their marriage was falling apart. And he was like, okay, like, I'll do anything just to keep her happy so that she won't be suspicious or whatever of him and Marianne. Okay, so they were swinging with Sherry and her husband. And, like, they ended up finding out that Love ended up finding out that he was cheating because he was like imagining somebody else while like having sex with Sherry. Mm-hmm. And so she was like, she said their word or whatever, and then she was like, I killed Natalie for you. Like, she was like screaming it, and then they knew that like they heard, and so they put them in the glass box, and like they were there forever. And Love is insane. Sherry had said Joe was cheating on you, and he literally was. And so then, but before that, Love had cheated on him. Love like was like, she realized like, yeah, he's cheating on me, and so she was gonna go. She like paralyzed. She used this thing and to paralyze Joe like she did her first husband, because we found out that she actually killed her first husband. And then she's gonna kill Marianne, but then her daughter was there, so she just let her go. And then the Sherry and her husband were still in the glass box, but then they actually found one of the keys that they hid.
And then they got out.
Got out.
And then they ended up making like a TED talk about it, and like they saw it as like a bonding experience for their marriage and things like that.
Yeah, and Love, I think she died. I think Joe actually killed her.
Joe had killed her. And they were like fighting in the kitchen, and she like injected something in him so he couldn't move, but then he ended up lighting the house on fire, I guess, so they lived in.
And he gave Henry too.
He gave Henry away to one of his coworkers that he worked with.
And since they're gay, so they couldn't have kids, so he gave it to them.
Yeah.
And then
they took care of him ever since.
And then he moved to Paris.
Yeah, to chase after Marianne. This is my favorite season. It's very chaotic. I really suggest that you guys watch it if you haven't.
Yeah.
Because this episode is full of spoilers, so please do that. But we want to thank everyone for listening to this episode. We really hope you enjoyed it, and please watch the next one and the previous ones. Overall, this season was a hot mess, to be honest.
So make sure you watch the next episode for the last season of this show.
You have to get like the full thing, and I really suggest watching it, guys.
Yeah,
Like it's really
it's
good.
really good. What's the time? Binge time.
Bye, guys.